Humility is the obvious common theme in the readings we've just heard, at least the first and the gospel. One way of reflecting upon the virtue of humility is to see what it is not, and then to see what it is in the scriptures and in the teaching of the church. Humility in the scriptures is not walking around with one's shoulders bent and muttering how lowly I am and undeserving of God's love or the love of others. Humility does not mean having an inferiority complex, which causes one to say, I can't do it, or I'm afraid to do it, or, oh, you're so much better than I am. We often confuse humility with meekness or even shyness. That's not so, at least not in the scriptures. In the scriptures, humility is about truth. The truth about who God is and who I am. The scriptures present the humble person as the one who knows this truth. And to be humble doesn't mean to hide one's talents or even to downplay them. Wouldn't it be crazy if Tom Brady would say in an interview, I really am not much of a football player? We would know that that's not the truth. But we hope it's not the truth. The positive things we have, we need to see as gifts from God. And at the same time, the humble person, the lover of truth, needs also to recognize his or her faults. Unless I can admit my shortcomings, my sins, then truth is not ruling my life. And humility is but a word I read or say rather than a way of life I live. I suspect all of us can tell a story or two about being humbled, maybe against our own will. I'm not sure if I have shared this with you before, but whenever I think of humility, I go back to 1971. I was a brand new deacon, 25 years old, and in those days, only deacons and priests could distribute communion, no extraordinary ministers. So one of the jobs I had during my summer assignment was to bring communion around to people. And my supervisor brought me to this house where I met this lovely elderly couple, and I was going to start bringing communion. And so the woman said, now, tell me, deacon, do I need to meet you at the door with a lighted candle? And do I have to have a white cloth to put on the table? And I said, oh, don't worry, I'm not concerned about all that. And she looked at me and said, young man, it's not you I'm concerned about. Some things just stick with you when you hear that. Most times, I'm humbled by the basic goodness of people, their ability to endure great hardships with faith and trust. Because of being a pastor, I often see people who are seriously ill or suffering from painful family situations. Often when I leave a home or a sickbed, I wonder if I could do as well as that person seemed to be doing. Perhaps today, you and I could look at our lives and appreciate anew the gifts that we have been given: life, health, family, country. But we can also look at the shadows in our lives, an illness or family difficulty, or personal hurts, and just see them as temporary setbacks. Perhaps the practice of humility for us means taking the first step to effect a reconciliation. Maybe I wasn't totally right, or the other totally wrong. Truth often lies in the middle, and humility may be urging me to take the first step. Finally, humility may be urging me to see the truth about myself. Perhaps there are things going on in my life that need attention, things which I need to change. Maybe I can't do anything myself, but if I place myself in the hands of the Lord, I may be able to take the necessary first step, which is oftentimes the most difficult. Humility, a virtue which speaks of truth. May it be ours in greater measure this day.